Hi, this is Mackenzie from Kids Saving the Rainforest, and I've been asked to give a tour focusing on our most popular animal, sloths. These are not sloths; these are stuffed animals. We don't sell sloths. But it's a good point. Sloths are very popular, often used as an emblem of conservation. Sort of become the new panda bear, charismatic animal. See them on shirts, stuffies, jewelry, cakes, piñatas. That one's kind of grim if you ask me. But the point is, here we are at a rescue center. We receive all kinds of animals. We do often get sloths. And a lot of people come here to see the sloths in our sanctuary. Now, all of the animals we receive and are in the process of rehabilitation, we do not show to the public. We do not want sloths here necessarily. They only come here if they're injured or in need of some help. But the ones that we have in the sanctuary here full-time, I'm happy to use as an educational tour. So this will be a specialized tour focusing on the sloths, why they're here, their role in the environment, and the methods of treatment we use to rehabilitate them. However, there are a number of differences between their behavior, morphology. For example, the three-toed sloth are much more diurnal, active during the day. Two-toed sloth, nocturnal, active more at night. Structurally, obviously, the number of toes are different. And the diets too. Two-toed sloth are capable of eating more than just leaves. They will occasionally eat small animals as well. Both species exist in the area, and we often receive either one. At the moment, though, we only have two-toed sloths in captivity in the sanctuary and in the rehab process. Our last three-toed sloth was released 6 months ago or so, although we occasionally get wild ones around here. Keep your eyes in the trees. So I'm going to keep my eyes on the ground for snakes, but and I'll leave a comment if you see a sloth over my shoulder or something. So here we've got the first of our sanctuary sloths, Dona, behind me. And like a good sloth, he's inactive right now, but it is a myth that sloths sleep all the time. Rather, they are resting and just saving energy. So he's not asleep, he's faking. I'm not falling for it this time. In fact, sloths, especially the two-toed, are far more active than you might think. And when they choose to, they can move quickly. The thing is, many of sloths' odd habits are adaptations, the result of their ecological role. When you mostly eat leaves, you don't get a lot of energy, so it's important to slow your metabolism down, which they're able to do, conserve energy by moving less, and having a very long and very efficient digestion process. Dona here is a wild rescue. This sloth climbed a power line. We found him, got pretty horribly electrocuted actually, and then he fell from the line, hit the ground, and then was hit by a car. So this poor guy's been through a lot. Pretty amazing what he's recovered from. But since he's a fully wild animal who came here as an adult, we have to be very careful around him. He is quite aggressive. Yeah, so poor Dona, he had to have extensive surgery to fix those burns. He was in physical therapy to regain movement of his back legs, which are mostly paralyzed. Recovered, of course, quite miraculously, but we've got enough mobility issues with him now, digestion problems, that he was not a candidate for release. We decided to move him here into full-time care. But he's a fighter, literally. It can often be a difficult process to rehabilitate a baby. Of course, when they come in, they need intensive care. They need to be mothered, raised, sometimes bottle fed. But at the same time, we want them to grow up to become independent. It's quite often you see imprinting reflex in some of these animals. Sloths in the wild grow up with their mothers and spend many months to even a year in some species clinging to their mother until she one day just climbs off and leaves her baby on its own. And as adults, they are supposed to be solitary and in fact are quite territorial towards other sloths. The problem with that is if people interfere, if they think they're helping and approach the baby or take it, try to keep it somewhere safe, they may actually scare the mother away, meaning it will become an orphan. It is very hard to reunite a baby sloth with its mother once they become separated. Sometimes people unknowingly bring us these sloths, not realizing they have caused an unintentional abandonment. That is why we prefer people to call us first when they see an animal in distress, before rather just interfering themselves. That way we can show up, evaluate, try to find the mother, and take the baby only if it needs to be taken. Anyhow, this is boot camp. You can see large open area, roughly an acre, surrounded by a high fence to keep the predators out. Got some trees, got a jungle gym, small shelter. And we'll let the animals roam up here, enclosed but open to the air, so they can transition to a more natural environment. Now, local legend tells of El Dorado, the legendary golden sloth. Costa Rica, it could be anywhere at all. No, this is Chicles, and he's going to be released soon. So, since he's going to the national park, lucky guy, we decided to mark him so we could help the park staff keep a little bit of track on his movements post-release. You can see we painted him with a natural dye. It'll fade after a while, but it turned him a lovely golden color. This has been with us for many months now, sub-adult. And yeah, looking good. Showing proper behavior. That is climbing well, eating well, and biting people who try to touch him. All good stuff in a wild sloth. We've got our youngest sloth. His name is Dudley. Up here. Young sloths tend to have a bit more energy than adults. You got a mosquito on your nose. So Dudley was most recently moved up to boot camp from the rehab area. Came in less than a year, I want to say 8 months ago. This was another case of getting separated from the mother unnecessarily, kind of sad, but she's showing good progress, nice and healthy. Around here is a third sloth named Smokey. Looks like she went for a walk, which is good. I have to track her down next, but she's probably somewhere out there in the bush. It's good to see them start explore a little. That's what boot camp is for. Did not fall, I just decided to sit down very quickly. Okay, I found Smokey. He's hiding against the shelter here. Just hanging there like a good sloth. I guess he wanted some shade. Sloths are ectothermic, meaning they have a variable body temperature, unusual for mammals, more like a reptile in that sense. If they get too hot, they have to seek out shade. But in the morning, when they want to warm up, they have to seek out direct sunlight to have enough energy to digest their food and move around. They're cool sloth adaptations. They have extra vertebrae in their necks, so they can turn their heads all the way around to look around when they're hanging from a tree. Most mammals have the same number of vertebrae. Right now I'm feeling like I have extra vertebrae, though it's probably because I just fell on a rock. Okay, the next few videos will be from the ground. Anyhow, people often wonder why the sloths are hanging upside down, and that's a result of many different adaptations to live that way. Both species of sloth have their limbs designed where the claws are hooked when they're relaxed. They have to exert a force to open their claws. Their esophagus has a loop in it, so they can eat upside down without the food coming back up. And all of this enables them to live most of their lives hanging upside down. They feed, mate, sleep, spend most of their time in that position. I don't recommend trying it. I tried to do that and nearly blacked out. But that is just how they are designed. It enables them to spend most of their lives in trees, away from predator, and up where their food is. It's a very interesting process to watch, something they have to be taught to do as babies. And it makes them very easy to clean up after. Very low maintenance animal. I can't say the same for all of ours, especially the monkeys. Remember, all these weird habits, from the slow metabolism to the weird body plan, they're adaptations and they serve a function. So So low metabolism does not mean low energy. Lack of movement does not mean they are helpless. And laziness is actually efficiency. But enough about me, more continuing with the sloths. Now, Dudley's in a great position for a cool little demo. I want you to look carefully and tell me, how many toes do you see on this animal? Don't know if the light is working in my favor, but look closely and you'll see there are 3 toes on the back legs of a 2-toed sloth. Think about that for a second. Now, all sloths, all species, have 3 toes on their back legs. The difference is the number of toes on the front legs, the fingers, if you will. So why they weren't just called 2- and 3-fingered sloths, I cannot tell you. That would have saved a lot of confusion and misidentification, but that's how it is. This is a 2-fingered sloth, Hoffman's 2-fingered sloth. All of our sloths. The final stage, of course, is the release. And in choosing a spot for release, you want to look for a habitat with tall trees that are known leaf species that they can eat, with a interconnected canopy, meaning lots of vines and branches that the sloths can move throughout the forest and never have to go down to the ground. If they ever go down to the ground, they're vulnerable to predators. They have a hard time moving. They can't really walk. They have to drag themselves. The way their body are designed, they just have muscles to grip, not push. But we'll be releasing Cheek-Laced in a national park with some natural primary forest, and then Smokey and Dudley in the future. We'll be looking for new release sites there, hopefully where we can keep some tabs on them. Oh, and if you ever visit Manuel Antonio National Park, be sure to keep an eye out for the legendary golden sloth. He's out there somewhere.